Okay, morning. We're going to do a demo here now with the caramel apple gratin. We're going to start off, first thing we have to do is peel our apples. So you just need to take the top and bottom off, peel it down. And when we core the apple, you just want to just take the center. You leave a flat side so you can layer them around. So 4 apples should do for this pan. Now this recipe, I have to be honest, I've only done this recipe a couple of times this morning. I've made it lots of times before, but a different procedure. So it do work out. I've been cooking and baking for 27, 28 years, and it amazed me this morning when I seen it. Okay, so it's just four basic ingredients. We have the apples, puff pastry, butter, sugar, and a little seasoning. Okay, so now we have our apples prepped. Okay, we start off, we have real butter, sugar, little sea salt, a little garam masala, seasoning. That's just a mixture of 5 different seasonings. Most of them would be the same seasoning as you have in a fruitcake. And we have some vanilla bean and puff pastry. So the puff pastry, you can buy it already rolled. And we just need to make it a little larger. So a little flour, top and bottom. Roll it out. And usually any time that you're rolling it out, we need to make it round, not square, but you always go from the center to the corners to stretch it out so it stretches out evenly. So we're just going to trim the edges. And to start off with, everybody can see that, you start off with the butter first and just flatten your butter in the pan. Cover your sugar. Little sea salt. Little spice. And the vanilla bean, just take your vanilla bean and split it down the middle. Open it up. Just put your cross there. Then with your apples, take your apples and start layering your apples. Now, anytime I've done this before, you always made your caramel first, but this one works out just as well. So you layer them out. And we take our puff pastry and go right over the top. So once you get the puff pastry done, just let it fall down in the pan and just lift the apples a little to get it underneath. Because what happens with this is once this is baked, we're actually going to turn it over. So like crusting underneath, it's going to turn it to be the same as the crust on your pie if you make a pie a regular way. Then we just turn on some heat. Medium heat. So then what we do, we just let it cook. It'll cook down to be like a caramel, and that's what we're looking for. So it takes maybe 10 minutes, but you'll see once the butter starts to melt, you'll start to see a form of a liquid going around the outside. It'll be fairly wet first, but then as the sugar starts to cook, it'll caramelize. And with cooking the caramel, you can always just watch the caramel, because with caramel, if it goes too long, it's going to burn. But you just want to go a really light color. So once it's light starting off, you'll see once it starts to boil, the different texture. First is really wet, and then the bubbles come up, and they're slower breaking. So once they go like that, then you'll know that you're good to go. So you want to keep moving your pan, because that way it's not going to stick. So actually, when the caramel is cooking with all the butter, your apples are actually going to stick onto the bottom of the pan. They're going to burn onto the pan as well, so they're going to get caramelization on the bottom of the apple. And then as they're cooking as well, you're going to get your extra liquid coming out of your apples, so you get an extra sweetness as well. There we go. Butter's starting to go there now, just starting to bubble. And you don't want it on a high heat, because a high heat is going to burn really fast. And this is one thing you don't want to. Sugar's tricky, because once it starts to cook, it'll caramelize really fast and go dark really fast. And as your caramel starts to caramelize, your sugar starts to caramelize, we'll just baste the top of the puff pastry. And we're going to put some air pockets in the puff pastry, so that there's space for the air to come out. Now, if you're not familiar with puff pastry, that's a dough that's it's made with a special high temperature shortening, and it's lots of layers. So you make a dough, you put the shortening in the middle, you fold it up, you roll it out, and you there's several different folds. So when you actually look at it on the side, you can see all these little tiny layers, and it's basically in the French term would be 1,000 layers, and that's why it puffs up so much. So you can see the difference in the way the caramel is going there now. It went from very wet to now the bubbles are breaking really fast, but they'll slow right down as the caramel cooks. So like I say, it usually takes 10 to 15 minutes on the stove top, and then 20 minutes in the oven. And as it starts to cook, then we'll start to baste the top of the tart with the caramel. And you want to keep it moving, because if you don't keep it moving, what's going to happen is your caramel is going to burn your apples, stick your apples right onto the bottom of the pan, and then it's going to be very difficult to get the tart out once it's done. So you can notice the difference in the textures of the bubbles. And actually, the bigger the apples, probably the better too, because you won't need as many, but it'll be a lot higher. Now, when it comes to making the caramel, if you just want to make caramel at home, usually white sugar, and but if you want a quick one, you can just use brown sugar, because you already got the sugar. It's already got some color, and it's a lot drier. So now we'll just start basting. And from the point of view of a baker and a chef, this should not work, but it does. So as you say, we just need to keep it going. You see, the caramel, as it cooks, it gets thicker as well, so you can see the different thickness in it. If anybody's ever made fudge, homemade fudge, they would know what the difference in the texture. So you just keep moving it around so you can get some of the caramel and baste the top. And you can see when you move it around, it's pretty free moving. You ready? Okay. Yep. How close? How close? How close? For the other one. One's in the oven.
I didn't do another one.
Oh, the one's in the oven up there.
It's right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thinking I'm slack or something. Get you looked after, brother. Don't worry.
There you go.
Right here, look.
All right. So now it's to the stage that it's ready to go in the oven. So what we do there, that one will go in, and this is the way it will come out of the oven after 20 minutes. So your caramel has the crust caramelized. It's you see it there, and the texture is a crusty texture. The puff pastry is all ready to go. So now what we do, you let it rest for about 5 minutes. You get a pan underneath to loosen everything up. Plate over the top. Flip it over. And there you go. So what happens here, when you seen the way I tuck the apples, or the pastry underneath the apples, then you've got a thick crust going around. So then it would look like a regular pie. With this being warm, it's easily to cut now because now you got a crust, same as a regular apple pie. So now that you got your crust, you just chop it up. You can serve it with ice cream, sherbet. My wife made a comment this morning about Fussel's cream. That's great with everything. Whipped cream, whatever you want is perfect. So we can cut some of this up now, and if anybody wants to try it, because if you don't eat it, it's my dessert for supper. So that way I don't have to make another one. Oh, we can use this. I'm going straight. Yeah. So the apples cooked very fast. Pastry's done. You got lots of sauce on it. There you go. This guy got a can of cream in his pocket, ready to go.
Can of cream, yeah.
Huh? And like I say, I've been at this a long time, and this floored me this morning.
I'll get smaller pieces than that. Where is this, Jamie? Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to get someone to just pass them out?
Where's Aaron? If Aaron was there.
Actually, if you want to, once you get it cut, you can do this, and I'll pass it out.
Okay.
Get a few started here. See how well it holds up there when it's done right?
Oh, wow.
All right, let's start some samples here. There's the man. You get the happy job, or you get the